Peace, peace, power, soul, and activation. This is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. I am your host, Zirayus Razus Anuclear, leader amongst other leaders and host here on the Next Nuclear Radio Show and U.N.O.N.C. FUTURTARIANs moving forward. Again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. I am your host, Zirayus Razus Anuclear, leader amongst other leaders and host here in the United Nations of Next Nuclear FUTURTARIANs. Moving forward, again, we are live on PODBEAN. We're live on PODBEAN, bringing forth next intelligence, this extended activation of intelligence that's going to move the planet forward. And again, raising up to 200 rising, ones walking the ones, the right ones in this time, that are going to ultimately, move this planet forward. Because again, we're not bullshitting anybody. We're bringing forth, raw and uncut intelligence. And this is what's going to ultimately, activate the right ones, activate those necessary ones to come over here or to come into the council to begin counseling and moving the planet forward. Again, we counseling within ourselves. Us, again, we purge a lot of the humanists and humanitarians, those mindsets and views and thought processes of what you say primitive creations that are primitive, or those people, those creations that are called humans. Humans are creations, as opposed to us being of the extended activational energies that, again, there is no origin. We have no origin from where our soul really comes from. It's continuous. It's always been here. It's been continuous for eons and eons and eons moving forth. Like I said, we're tapping into this next intelligence that's ultimately going to, again, activate people to, move forward. Or again, like I've always said, either you can be extended by the next intelligence, or you're ultimately going to be expended or expelled. So you can be extended, or you can be expelled or expended, from being able to tap in and what you say evolve to that next level that we've tapped into, or we've been able to evolve into as a collective. We as a solar activated council, moving forward in these times. So again, we're going to keep pushing forward. Again, we are going live. I'm live out here in Paradise, Las Vegas, Nevada. Time is currently 6:34 p.m. PST, 8:34 p.m. CST. So again, we're live back on PODBEAN, bringing forth this next intelligence. And again, we've been sitting back for a while. We've been sitting back in the cut for the last several years. Say for me, 4 to 5 years, I've been sitting back and ultimately, again, immersing myself, into what they call this illusion called the Matrix. And again, the more that we begin to, see past that, because at one time, again, like I said, I immersed my mind into the so-called all of us have basically, we were born into this. So ultimately, moving past all of that, there were signs earlier on, when I was growing up, that I was not from this place, that I'm not from here. And again, my thought process, the way I seen the world, a lot of experiences that I had, growing up, led me know that I am not from this time period. I am not, of the created. Again, we are not of the created, us activated golden beings. We are of the, we're the activators. We activated creations, or we created creations. We made creations, basically out of our advanced intelligence that ultimately, what we're doing fast forward up until now, prior to, that particular point of initial creations, we are way, 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 way more advanced than a lot of people are giving us credit for. They're calling us primitive. We're trying to associate, again, a lot of the 3D advanced beings with these upper dimensional intelligent beings that we know ourselves to be. So moving forward, right now I'm currently sharing this on Facebook and all over. Now going live, tapping in. Because at this time, only the real ones want to, bring forth what they have, very diverse intelligence, and bring that to the table and move things forward. Because diversity is what ultimately, diversity in the intelligence, was ultimately is, again, going to build up to our topic tonight. So yeah, now I'm sharing this all over. Because again, diversity and collectivity is ultimately what will move things forward. Like I said, the ones coming to the table, the ones accepting their roles as extended council members, being of the solar activated council, being these activated light projectors, being these activated light projections or these activated ray projections coming down to the planet and activating the necessary people that are of that same activational ray energy. Again, that's soul energy. So again, we're going to keep moving forward and again keep touching on what you say, the intelligence aspect, focusing on the power within the mind. And when we're constantly processing these organic rays, our minds are only becoming more evolved or advanced, being able to pull in this extended intelligence from the what you say, ultimately from these upper and outer dimensions, while we're constantly again, our future selves, our highest selves in this earth dimension are basically pulling from the 14th dimension, and they're basically being in the 13th dimension, being able to again, and that all of that intelligence is being bottlenecked down to this plane, this past present plane, where we are in live time receiving and pulling in intelligence. There is no making anything up. This is all what you say, what is to come, for our future bloodlines. They're going to be able to receive and pull in more intelligence. We're not going to focus on, well, by the time we move into that higher advanced state, we would have gotten rid of all the mental transmissions, because again, our future bloodlines are not going to omnistan and megastan what TikTok and all these other YouTube and other platforms are, because again, they're not going to be of nonsense. They're going to be of purpose and be of future advanced intelligence, not focusing on, again, the primitive ways of, again, humanities and all that's all obsolete. That's why we're talking about, again, moving past information and tapping into the intelligence, aka the activation rays coming down, and again, evolving our minds as a collective council, solar activated council, us being the solar activated council moving forward. So yes, right now I'm sharing this to YouTube, because look, once we get started, it's like you can't stop the intel. Once we begin to fully, open up the box, they say, hey, don't open up Pandora. So we're the ones opening up Pandora's box, aka that gateway, us being the ones walking with ones, 1111. The 1111 are basically opening up the gateway for this advanced intel to come down. And again, we're being permeated in intelligence. We're being permeated in radiance, being permeated intelligence and radiance that is evolving us into these future beings in the past. We are future thinking beings in the past. We are future thinking and future living beings caught in the past. And we are breaking out of the past by way of our alignment to a connection with our higher selves and us being pulled forward. That lifeline, again, our souls came back, that our future souls acted as that lifeline, which activated our past vessels. And again, we began to think forward, move forward, live forward, act forward. Ultimately, the motion of evolution is forward growth, forward thinking, for your observation on life is ultimately, again, you're progressive. We're progressive energy. We're not supposed to be stagnant and conservative. We're not supposed to be conservative. We're supposed to be progressive. Progressive means that you're moving forward. That's why, again, even being in the system, a lot of so-called black people, aka golden people, ultimately they would consider themselves, they were considered conservatives, because again, going with the flow and everything else, we move past being stagnant. When you call yourself conservative, you're basically afraid to grow. You want to keep your old traditions. You want to keep the same old information in circulation and not move forward into higher thinking, into advanced thinking. That shows you who are the so-called gatekeepers. We call them golden gatekeepers. Golden gatekeepers. Those are the ones who are holding back the intel and stopping you from being able to tap in, stopping you from being able to tap into the intelligence. They're trying to stop you from being able to, again, open your minds to the next tale. That's why, again, you got these teachers who, again, are on the 10 frequency. They are ones who are supposed to be over here with us, but they're ones manipulating zeros. Again, 1 and 0 equals 10. Bringing together, that's 10 right there. So they're ultimately, again, a part of that 3D algorithm of 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0, as opposed to us being able to write next now, be able to overwrite and format that old algorithm dealing with the fourth format again with 1 1 1 1 1. That's ones walking with ones. So yes, we are extended mind, body, and soul. And we're going to keep again talking about again moving forward. What's next? These next conversations again by way of the Next Nuclear Radio Show. Again bringing forth next nuclear ideas and conversations. Let's go. It's time to what you say. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep extending your mind forward. That's ultimately what we have to keep doing. Keep extending our minds and keep, again, like I was talking to one of the FUTURTARIANs, I just told him basically persistence and, basically self-discipline. Being self-disciplined and being persistent and keep on, being hungry and keep on going in. Basically non-stop, you can't stop because we have to keep on self-activating us. We have to keep on self-activating our minds, again, ourselves ultimately, because in the future, we're not going to have any other help because we're on the top. We're the pinnacle. There is no help in the top. The top is always moving forward and extending. So again, we're going to keep moving forward and growing. So, as I go on to again speak on today's topic, we're going to keep moving and keep going. And again, keeping our minds open to the next intelligence. Keeping our minds open to the next intelligence. So, yes, today's topic is synchronized intelligence 1111. Mute your mic, brother. Yeah, so again, today's topic is synchronized intelligence. Moving forward, as we begin to talked about Solargy for one. Solargy is the conglomerate or the collectivity of what you say activated souls coming together and again causing what you say these energy shifts on the planet, but again causing the planet to speed up because of our energy is beginning to what you say cause a lot of what you say celestial events, again, as far as we talked about the moon being pushed away further and further because again the true activated ones are coming together and again pushing out and amplifying a stronger magnetic field than what the moon's pushing out. So the more that we come together, like I said, our Solargy is a next magnetic push or a force that's being amplified and again it's being felt all over the planet. That's why certain people can't take it. That's why again synchronized intelligence, the more that we come together, like I said, we have diverse intelligence. Our minds are not, we don't think alike, but we're on the same frequency. We can tap in and extend off one another. Again, that's excuse me. But we always say one's walking with ones because that's ultimately what is, truly how we are able to extend because we know that our souls can keep on, what you say, feeding off one another or that same energy can keep on basically, keep on feeding and extending what you say further past than what a lot of people, whether they are in groups or communities now. Again, a lot of them are not based on the future things to come. And that's, again, the growth, evolution, and again, extension of the mind, body, and souls of the activated ones or activated golden beings. Again, we're not regulars or regular golden people. We're activated golden beings that have, again, come to the table and we're bringing forth, again, what we're able to channel and what we're able to pull in these days. So, again, today I have Brother AF1 with me. Again, his channel on YouTube is FUTURTARIANS Activation Channel. Again, FUTURTARIANS Activation Channel. So again, we're, again, by way of synchronized intel, bringing forth these messages by way of how we're able to channel and pull in. And again, it being diverse, it being synchronized, but it ultimately is feeding off one another. It's synchronized. And again, it's driving the point home. Collectivity will always overrule being an individual. Collectivity will always overrule being an individual or thinking on that individual mindset as far as, that you can, move the planet forward by yourself, that you're the only receiver on the planet. People who have that egotistical mindset have to get sat down by way of synchronized intelligence. They have to be sat down because, again, logic and rationale is always going to basically, slap them in the face when it comes to moving the planet forward. When it came to creating the planet, everything, it was as above, so below. There were a collective of being. There were a group of beings that came down here, and again, a group of intelligence that came down here and ultimately made this planet. It wasn't just one person. It wasn't just a god. It wasn't no. It was a group of beings that were highly intelligent. They were highly advanced in thinking, highly advanced in, again, being able to see the future or ultimately be of the future. Because again, that's how things, again, have come down to where we're at right now. We've been able to catch back up. We caught back up, and now we're the ones leaving this past world. We're the ones, again, walking outside of the past world by way of how synchronized intelligence is coming by way of us, our individual, channels, but ultimately how we're able to channel, differently, but ultimately just because it's different doesn't mean that, again, we're not talking about the same thing. Everything as far as, it being synchronized and it being on point, and it having that same effect as far as, activating others or inspiring others. That's where it all, it all boils down to, or it all comes up to us as these activated beings moving forward, because our energy is only going to keep on either extending or expanding people that can't comprehend what's going on this planet. That wants to keep on, they want to, what you say, push the focus on different things other than, again, your evolution of the mind, body, and soul. Or again, us coming together and evolving by way of the council, us coming together by way of counseling. So, yes, that's why in these times, the council had to come and again, push things forward, because again, we're not stagnant. We're not stagnant. That's why we couldn't be stagnant. That's why, like I said before earlier on, I even knew when I was younger, I was different. I was different from most people because my mind, was just on a whole different level. And even now, being able to extend further and further, on the intelligence chain, pretty much, because we're the highest on the intel chain as far as being able to, again, focus our minds and channel outside the box, or outside of the third dimensional realm, outside of the 3D algorithms, as far as how people want you to think, or how people are, viewed as using their minds here on this planet. People here are so primitive and so behind. That's why, again, being an individual doesn't make any sense as far as, again, trying to accomplish what we want to accomplish, which is moving, again, our souls into the next dimension. Again, that takes a lot of intelligence. Like I said, it takes self-discipline. It takes, what you say, persistence to, truly keep moving on that one frequency and keep truly seeing, how purposeful coming together in this council it really is. So, but whenever you want to, you can come in and chime in. But yeah, moving forward, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, bringing forth next nuclear ideas and conversations, by way of, again, the Solar Activated Council. Peace, power, and soul.
Peace, power, soul, everybody out there. You spoke on individuals, and when you go, I'm kind of tired right now, but it don't stop, sleepy or not. But dealing with individuals, what's that? That's inner. D, what's that? Anytime you see that DE, that's a lower chakra. Individuals, D, demented. Because when they're by themselves, a lot of people that's individuals, when they're by themselves and they always want to be by themselves, and then what happens when they go to a gathering or something, they're looking to be stimulated, right? So that's what individuals do. They look to be stimulated and they go back by themselves because they know that in the long run, they really don't serve a futuristic purpose. And I'm just going to say it's sad, but that's just the majority of the mass people that's on the planet. ND, going back to demented state. Going back to the demented state. See these individuals out here. They if you want to exist and just live your life, that's fine, whatever floats your boat. But you always got to know that especially if you're at the woke stage, conscious stage, I don't really say religion too much, because if you're still, if you 30, 40, 50 years old and you're still thinking that, 200 million chariots is going to come out the sky and save you, that's whatever floats your boat. But that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. The individual mind frame. That's why when you're dealing with, I always use, just look at the world in general. Look at the world in general. This is why we call ourselves the council, because we understand one's walking with ones. We mega stand one's walking with ones. Look at everything in the world. Because I always got to put everything down in a 3D reality for y'all so y'all can try to at least even trigger some of your neurotransmitters or trigger your junk DNA to get you thinking past what you've been taught and what you've been Googling on Siri and Alexa. So thinking past everything that you've been taught. Go back. Okay, this is why we stress ones walking with ones. Going to the 3D realm. When you have a situation at hand, right? Now, I'm not talking about if it's chaos and confusion when it's just everybody's all for, getting everything situated, talking about the citizens. Now, when you have, this is why we say ones walk with ones. When you have a situation, all right, you got a situation, somebody's in a household, right? They got people hostage in there. They got people hostage in that house. So somebody leaves the house, they call the police, and they're like, oh, this guy, he has 3 people hostage up in there. What they got to activate who? The SWAT team. They're not finna go. The SWAT, okay, they're not finna go get the next door neighbor, the dude down the street that you like, or the chick down the street that you like. They're finna activate the SWAT team. What is a SWAT team? I'm using this as an example. That's the SWAT ones walking with the ones. They're going to go get the SWAT. They're not finna go get the guy down the street and his friends that have been sitting in the garage drinking. Even though they got guns, they're not finna go get them to situate the situation dealing with a hostage situation. They're going to go get the SWAT team. That's why we stress counsel so much, because this whole world is based on that. This whole world is based on getting everything to keep moving in order, right? If you got a situation, because I always got to go back. I always got to, because I was talking to Zaire. She was like, man, don't dumb it down. Don't dumb it down. But when you're dealing with intel, you can a little bit, because I want to give you guys an example, because there's ones out here, but they ain't over here. If you have the United States basketball team, now they're going to the Olympics. The United States basketball team is going to the Olympics, right? Right. Going back to the topic, synchronized. United States the USA is going to the Olympics to play basketball. Who are they going to get? They're going to get the top ones. They're not going to go send college players that have been playing on a bench their whole college career and go play against these other elite basketball players. They're going to get the top ones. Everything has been put in your face. This is real simple. It doesn't take trigonometry to figure this out. That's why it's so sad when we was talking about the ones that's out here, and they always got to be catered to by the zeros and, manipulate zeros, this and that. It's the same thing dealing with go back to the Avengers. Always use them as an example. When you're dealing with the superheroes from the Avengers, they're not finna go. If a world tragedy happened where so-called bad guy pops up, he's very powerful. Are the Avengers going to go get the citizens to go help them when their guns and their tanks and stuff ain't working? No, they're going to go get the ones that are on their level. And see, this is what's going on, because we're giving these ones out here the solution, and they ain't going to accept it. You know why? Because they faded away in the future somewhere. They faded away in the future somewhere. Now we back from the future and telling everybody that this is how it is. This is how, when you're dealing with the golden race and the shootings and all that stuff, because it's only a branch of us that's going to branch off and actually move into the future. Because the way that society is dealing with, the Greco-Roman priests and all that stuff that actually have put everything out here, the structure, the system, now everything's the veil's being pulled off for everything. There is no more excuses out here. So when somebody gives you an excuse and they go, especially when they heard these videos, if you heard these videos and you still talking about, you still talking about the white man, you still talking about slavery, you still talking about reparations, you still talking about diets, on what you can eat, this and that. All that stuff it's not going to move you to the future. That's your own personal individual mindset that you have feel, going back to mental illness, to make you feel comfortable. Because that's the thing, Zaraz, when people hear these videos, there is no more excuses. That's the most beautiful thing about being a Futurtarian, man. Shout out to all the Futurtarians out there, because we know, man, there is literally nothing else out here on this planet. There's not, because what we're saying makes sense. But what are we backing it up with? We're backing it up with intel. That is, I'm just going to say the word facts. That is facts. Backing it up with intel. So the 1111, the two portals, they're open. They've been open. Look up. Go into the cities. Go into the cities, even sometimes in the suburbs. But go into the cities, man, and really focus. You said what now?
Oh, Cosmo.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, Cosmos, mute your mic.
Oh, mute. Okay, sorry. 1 second.
Yeah, lower right hand corner. All right. So everybody look up in the sky. Actually look, man, what's going on? You're dealing with multiple UFOs, but we don't focus on UFOs and all that stuff. I'm just using this as an example because we know that they're out there. Multiple UFOs. You got air traffic. Multiple air traffic. All these people are running around like chickens with their head cut off. Why is that? Why is they running around like chickens with their head cut off? Go into the metro area, and then all of a sudden there's some stuff that just like happens, and then all of a sudden there's security everywhere around us. Why is this happening? There's always going to be a reason why. You know what I'm saying? The ones walking with the ones. Going back to the topic, synchronized intel. Synchronized intel. Going back to the topic, staying in tune, staying on that frequency, that one path, that one passage. What do they call in the Bible? They call them what, passages, and but the one passage. There is not multiple passages. There's only one. And going back, me and one of the Futurtarians was talking about going back, listening to this one teacher, and it's this. The crazy part of everything was what's going on. When they hear this message, they still want to talk about Jesus Christ. They still want to talk about the Messiah. They still want to talk about demons, angels, gumbo pot, mixing in their gumbo pot. They're trying to take, because the sad part is a lot of these teachers cannot just let go of everything. They always have to pull something back from the past. Like acknowledging your ancestors and then focusing on your ascendants are two different things. Then focusing on your ancestors and acknowledging your ascendants is two different pathways. It's two different pathways. That's why there's only one pathway. The only two pathways is dealing with the 11. The 1111, the two dots in the middle is the portals. The ones in the future, they're going to always come back through those portals. Look at the dead zones look at all the dead zones on the planet. Why would the planet even have dead zones where electricity don't work? Think about that for a minute. Why would they have dead zones on the planet where electricity don't work? You think that was random? You think that it was just like, oh, electricity can work here, but it can't work here? No. See, we back from the future, so we putting everything on the forefront. Can't no philosopher, no scientist, no professor or anything argue with us about that, because they know. But when they've been taught, and their mission on the planet is to keep that hamster wheel mind frame going. That's why every time you got somebody that comes into college and they start going past what the professor teaches, what do? They put them on mute, put them on pause. Because what does it make the teacher? It makes the teacher and the professor look like they don't know what they're talking about. So they put you on mute. And then what they say, that student is special. Oh, he's special. See, that's a code word right there. That the special word of that word special, dealing with people and saying that goes a long way back. Oh yeah, yeah, he's special, because they're telling you that you're more than what they're teaching, but they say special because it's a code word. It's what they're pushing. So going back to synchronized intel, everybody being on one accord, working down as a council movement, and you put your minds together and you keep stuff moving forward. And then as that keeps moving forward, the intel is going to keep moving forward. That's why when you deal with these teachers that's out here, and they're trying, but the sad part is when they hear the intel and they hear the Futurtarians, they put it in a gumbo pot, but they don't go 110%.
Nope, they never go, to that 111%, or we'll say 110%, because a lot of people won't understand, like, what we're talking about, again, not associating ourselves with zeros, but again, ones walking with ones. It should make sense by now why synchronized intel is necessary to move forward into the future, because we've tried other ways. There's no other fucking way. Come on now. People have to, like, it's not hardening, but it's irritating to have to, like, be around people and keep having to, like, explain, okay, talking about, you go watching our videos, but it's like, okay, what are we doing to move the planet forward? Do you want to come over here and build, or do you want to ridicule and, be hate on a fucking sideline? Because most people get mad at, again, people are still caught up in the ego and their pride. So, when it comes to really coming to the table, could you mute your microphone, please? So ultimately, yeah, moving forward, we're going to keep, like I was saying, extending the mind, body, souls of our people. But again, realizing that, and we're going to keep telling them, hey, counseling is the only way, because we have to keep, again, counseling or coming together as these activated souls to, again, purge away a lot of the humanist ideas, which we already have. But, in order to, see yourself moving forward or coming into, would you say, that conglomerate of a collective council, or actually coming together and, again, utilizing and seeing the power of synchronized intel, again, you have to let go of what you believe in, because we don't believe anymore. People of the future don't believe. They know. They definitively know what's next, or what they're going to do next, or what ultimately, by doing what they do could cause a chain reaction, or, they know, what their actions, and again, how purposeful they are by way of their actions are in the future. So again, there isn't no second guessing or doubting, the power of the extended activated council, or these extended mind, bodies, and souls. So again, we have, again, it's Brother AF1. Again, check him out on his channel, Futurtarians Activation channel. And we also have Brother Cosmo here on the panel. So again, I'll give it to you in a couple minutes, Brother Cosmo, if you want to add anything. So ultimately, again, we're talking about synchronized intel, because again, we are the ones walking with ones, because again, in this time, again, we have to stand out. We don't want to be associated with all of that madness that's going on right now, all of that chaos going on right now, because again, we've ultimately seen that, again, that's not of the future. If you're caught up in all of that madness, all of that stuff that would keep you mentally looped, being a part of the meta, then again, we realized that, again, moving forward was the only way to, again, have a bit of peace of mind before we can actually ascend into the upper dimensions, where we have true peace and true evolutionary satisfaction, and not have to worry about having to be in the physical world of this past world anymore. Because again, this is starting to is very played out, very, stagnant, as a, when it comes to, having to get a people or get a planet for, there's so many things that, again, if it wasn't for us being who we were, being strong-minded individuals at one point, and then ultimately saying, okay, yes, we are strong as individuals, but we're also more powerful coming together and ultimately utilizing that synchronized intel. So once we realize that, that's when things started to move forward for us on our individual journeys, and then coming together, this energy has really shifted the planet forward even faster. That's why I said before, we came together by way of our synchronized intel, and our souls created solargy. Solargy, by way of our souls coming together, and it's pushed forth a next magnetic force. Again, our solargy coming together has created a next magnetic force that has, what you say, pushed the moon further away, and which is basically speeding the planet forward faster. And the sun is going to actually becoming pushing out more intense energy and rays coming down to the planet. So again, here we are with the Next Nuclear Radio Show, bringing forth next nuclear ideas and conversations to move the planet forward. And again, the activated council and between you rising, the ones walking with ones walking with ones. So we have Brother Cosmo. If you want to chime in, go ahead, Brother Cosmo. So yes, we are here to bring forth basic state activation and bring forth what you say the voices, because right now we are the voices of reason for a lot of people or a lot of teachers who are on the sideline watching the videos but don't want to come over here and build and move the planet forward. So again, this is how we know it's real, because again, our influence has caused a lot of shifts to take place, whether it be on social media or whether it be in our areas. I know Brother Ed mentioned that, again, once we step outside in this physical world, everything begins to shift. And again, we've noticed a lot of what you say, a lot of military activity or a lot of shifts within the upper atmosphere, because again, there are beings coming in and out of those portals in the sky, either on the ground or in the sky, but these portals that link to different dimensional spaces or extended spaces beyond our space right now. That's why I've said before, I live in Area 51, and I know there's a portal. There's many portals out here in Las Vegas, because again, it's just a lot of phenomenon out here that can't be explained by modern theories, by theories in general. But again, when you begin to really tap into, and you begin to see things for what they really are, then it begins to make more sense. Again, we are supernatural, or these extended activated beings. They call this special, like Brother F was saying, but special ultimately means, it's super, super or hyperactive, or again, super, would you say ordinary, because again, we are, would you say, different from a lot of these people, and we've seen it, even when we were growing up, we stood out, our energy in general. So, Brother Cosmo, you want to add?
Yeah, peace, power, and soul family. I was going to say, with the special, when Brother F brought up the special word, I remember in school, how, that goes back to saying when you made that, podcast about pointing out, when people point us out, because they've been pointing us out since we were younger, but they didn't know what they felt. You know what I mean? And we were still, going about what we were in tune with. So we knew, like, being curious, I feel like, that something is there. You know what I mean? Like, there's more than what's being presented. So you're always looking for more type shit, I guess. So, we're saying that basically, with us, our energy synchronizing, our minds and our soul synchronizing, we all came to an understanding of accepting and letting go of certain ideas, letting go of everything eventually, and to continue to be formless. So I just want to come over here and say, definitely moving on and letting go is a process that, us omni beings, we do overstand, and it is a must, you know what I mean? Not to stay just in one way or one level, you know what I mean? Tapping into the one, but not to be just, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, just capitalize on what you said, because being synchronized, what happens when you get an idea? Break down the word I, that's the individual. D, that's the diminished state. And then the A, what's that? Going back to the one. So when you come up with an idea, right, the only way that idea is going to move the whole planet forward is going back to the A. ID, what's the D? The demented state. And then the So the ID, is something, when you come up with an idea, like, if I got an idea, right, and I'm just using it for myself and I'm not sharing it, then it's just basically an ID. Just like your car. When you pull out your ID, you pull out your ID out your pocket. But why is the at the end of idea? Because then when you come into a collective and you share your idea, then it becomes something. It becomes something more than what you pictured it. So then you share it with who? The people that you're building with, dealing with the ideas. And going back to the topic, synchronized intel, right? Synchronicity being what? Same frequency, same tone, same vibration. When you're dealing with synchronized, remember when you make music, right? If you make music, what do they call it? They call it a tempo. Tempo. Now, if somebody came in and your tempo's at your tempo's at 92, right? Somebody comes in on your track and starts singing or rapping at tempo 103. Now, would that song make sense? Would that song be in tune? Would that song be synchronized? It would be unintuned, and it won't be synchronized because the tempo of that person that's on your track or your song or whatever you're doing, if you're playing a piano, you're doing orchestra, whatever, jazz, hip hop, doesn't matter. That's a tempo. It's a tempo. Everybody has to be. And what does the word tempo mean when you're dealing with your individuality? Your body, your temple.
Your mind.
Tempo.
Your mind. Yeah.
Your mind. It deals with your mind. So that's why when you're dealing with synchronized, everything has to be. When you're dealing with the orchestra and you got that guy up there holding the stick, and you know that's a one.
Yeah, the conductor.
You know that's a one.
The conductor, yeah.
The conductor. He's holding the stick. Everybody has to be. You know why? Right. You know why he's up there? Because he understands collectivism. He understands if the trumpet gets off, I got to get the trumpet back on tempo. If on harmony. If the trombone gets off, I got to get the trombone back on harmony. Being on a synchronized frequency. Everybody on the same accord. Thinking the same way. Moving on each other's ideas and building. Look at the so-called African American race right now. If you go on TikTok, Instagram, any social media website, there's no synchronicity. They're everywhere. That is straight facts. I'm just going to say that word. I don't even like using that word, but I'm using it today. They're everywhere. Go. When everybody leaves this broadcast, whoever listens to this, even if you listen to it on a broadcast, or if you listen to it on YouTube, if you listen to it on Facebook, if you listen to it on Instagram, soon as this is over with, go on every social media website and see how they are everywhere. They're scattered. They're scattered. There's no power in being scattered. Over here, individuality. Over here, individuality. Over here, individuality. And the sad part is when you're dealing with, I'm not even talking about religion people no more. We passed religion. Done with that. But when you're talking about woke and conscious people, they try to take everything and use it for their own mental medication. And as time goes on, they figuring out that when they get older and they like 70, 80 years old, 90 years old, and then especially hearing these videos, they're going to really realize that their mind was everywhere. They couldn't stay focused on the one, laser focus, having that tempo, being connected with people on their same mind frame, right? To move shit forward. I'm not talking about being on the same mind frame, dealing with, everyday dumb shit that don't even matter. Like, go on TikTok, go on Instagram, they're everywhere. The sad part is, see, this is the thing about money. Money and strength. Money and strength that never worked. It never worked. Go back and look at what was that? Black Wall Street. When Black Wall Street got bombed down there in the South, right? Everybody was focused on money. Oh, if we get this money, if we start our own Black Wall Street, everything will be fine. No, it's never been about that. It's never been about money. Yeah, money can make you comfortable and make your next day be comfortable dealing with what? Present, right? Dealing with the present stimulation. Being presently stimulated. But when it comes to the future of moving a whole generation of people forward, it's never going to work.
Nope, it's not going to work because, again, when people are still, caught up in, again, the minuscule things that we have long shed, just such as their pride and ego, such as, again, a lot of the limiting, things such as, like I said, limited thinking, limited values, and all that stuff that, again, would stop you from being able to open up yourself to, again, extract and pull this intelligence from the next dimensions by way of our magnetism. Again, us being able to utilize the magnetism within ourselves, ultimately, again, being able to extract, what's really important, which is, again, our future, us being able to, again, see this, more and more each day. That's why I was talking to Brother Cosmo earlier, and he asked me a question. I told him ultimately it was basically, being persistent in, again, being self-disciplined ultimately is going to get you to, begin to revamp your mind even further and come into synchronized intelligence. Because the more that we keep on doing this, the more, man, this is a fire live so far, So moving forward, again, our synchronized intelligence is only going to, inspire others on the planet. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, shout out to the brother Cosmos, because just dealing with us three that's on this live right now, that's power. That doesn't deal with strength. That's power, because we're tapped into a frequency, right? We're tapped into a frequency. We're tapped into the tempo. We're tapping if Zareus is on tempo 1111, I mean not 1111. I'm sorry, I'm talking about studio tempos. If he's at a tempo 111 and it's going, we're automatically going to tap into that tempo. And then we're going to figure out that tempo, and then we're going to move shit forward. Because then, if Cosmos is on the tempo, he comes with an ID, because you got your ID. That's why everything dealing with these words, man, you got the Webster dictionary, and then you have the stealth code of these words. The ones that these Greco-Roman priests that's why I always say this. I said this in the last live. I said, when you're around these people that got money, that been, studying these secret books, and they, all of a sudden they just start laughing around you and shit, because they'll say a word like,
I think you muted your mic muted, brother AF Horn. Go ahead.
Then they'll start laughing because they know the stealth definition of the word. You know what I'm saying? Go back to these secret organizations where they got secret handshakes, secret words, this ain't nothing new, man. Now that we back from the future, we putting everything on the forefront. The age of Aquarius is coming in, and then when it gets here fully, everything's going to be put on the damn table. You know what I'm saying? Everything. The dog, you won't even be able to throw no food under the table and feed the dog secretly. That dog's going to have to be sitting on that damn seat. That's how real this gets. So going back to the topic, synchronized intel, the tempo. What is your tempo? Your body. What's the top? Your mind. Going back to the Egyptians, when they made the pyramids, because they already knew that everything that they did from the foundation pointed up to what? The one.
Yep, the one frequency. We talked about that in, our previous live called the one frequency, us being on one accord, us again talking about that exponential growth, 11,111 to the 111 power. Again, 11,111 to the 111 power. That power, that exponent meaning exponential growth as other ones come together and can come together under the synchronized intelligence. And after we begin to extend further and further beyond with that exponential growth, it's only going to empower more and more of activated ones here in this time right now. Because again, a lot of people can't recognize what we're saying because it's the future. A lot of people are still accustomed to past and present. Oh, the ancestors, slavery, tarot cards, voodoo, all of that shit that is irrelevant and null and void and obsolete in the fourth dimension, all the way past, that's just, again, stagnant. That's why, again, I made a podcast talking about the all-seeing eye. We are the all-seeing eye, ultimately the all-seeing intelligence from the fourth dimension, again, bringing forth judgment, bringing forth this correction. Again, that's core. Again, that soul growth in action, that core growth in action, us being able to grow and evolve by way of solargy. Our solargy ultimately is growing us and basically evolving us into a next dimensional state. Again, the counseling, bringing forth this correctional intelligence by way of, again, what we're pulling in. And these times, ultimately, it is about the evolvement. It's about the solar extension again, of these souls here, again, that are calling themselves, Between the Rising. We call ourselves Between the Rising because, again, that's what we're doing. We are not declining. We're not diminishing. We're not slowing anything down. We are speeding things up because that's what had to happen. And the fact that we are synchronized by way of by way of the intel is ultimately making things go faster.
Yep. I'm gonna hit on speeding up before I forget. Yeah, everything's speeding up. And I'm gonna use this as an example because it's really popular right now. And we don't do this shit for views. We do this for the ones. But I'm gonna go up. Everything's speeding up. Go back. I'm gonna use this as an example. Go back to Biggie and Pac. Biggie and Tupac. When Biggie and Tupac got killed, right, it was a big thing. It was a big thing. They got killed. It was like people were actually just like, crying and stuff like that. Didn't even know him personally. You just knew him off his songs and and the mission that he chose to do on the planet, right? And I'm using this as an example. Everything's speeding up. Now go back for after Biggie and Pac died, go back to the last, 11 years? How many rappers have died since that last 11 years? That'll be some homework. That's some homework for the people that's out there. Go the past 11 years, Google it and see how many rappers died. That's speeding up because everything is speeding up. Wherever your mindset's at, wherever you think and whatever your mindset's at, it's going to speed up and it's going wherever your mind is focused on, it's going to speed up because we're moving into the age of Aquarius and everything's going to start speeding up. The planet's rotating faster. The sun's getting hotter, right? Everything that's even flying through the solar system, what they call those meteorites and comets and shit, that shit's speeding up. Everything's speeding up. So why you say that, AF1? Because our minds are speeding up. Because we're tapped in, we're activated. So our minds is speeding up. So when you're dealing with philosophers, scientists, you're dealing with professors, all that stuff, they come over here and they gonna get bodied. There is nothing nobody on this planet can do about it. It's gonna happen. This already played out into the future. This already happened. So that's why we always say that. We always say that, man, this stuff already happened, man. We know. I saw the future. Should I say it on the internet for what? Doesn't matter if you're not over here. You ain't sitting on the council seats. Your name ain't on that table. Why should we be worried about that? Especially when you hear the message. You hear the message, you might as well just go ahead, live your regular life, and live your regular woke and conscious life, and just go about that. Because this is how serious this gets. Every time you take our intel and you try to mix it into your gumbo pot, I guarantee there's going to be something that happens. Manipulating and controlling the atoms, the electrodes, the electrons, manipulating and controlling plasma, right? Water, rays, DNA activation, junk DNA activation. So everybody has a choice. Everybody has a choice to do what they want to do. That's why one of the reasons why a lot of us was born in America is because, I ain't even finna go into all that. No, that's for the Futurtarians. I'm gonna leave that for the Futurtarians, man. I ain't even finna go on that, but you know what I'm saying? Going back to the topic, synchronized intel, being on that same tempo, that same tone, that same tempo, that same melody. Keep moving stuff forward, coming up with new ideas. The ID, that's you. The is the A, going back to the one. That's what ideas mean. And people gonna go on Google and be like, oh, what is this? They ain't gonna see it. How you gonna go Google something from the future? Well, actually, it's not from the future. I'm not gonna, no, that actually is the stuff that these Greco-Roman priests, they actually did all this stuff in codes. The codes are being unlocked. That's why I said, man, dealing with the age of Aquarius, everything's going to be unlocked and we're just going to keep moving forward.
Yep, we're going to keep moving forward, and again, we're going to keep traversing, and again, pushing our minds to the limit. Like I said, there is no limit, so that means our minds are going to keep continuously channeling and keep on extracting and pulling what's next from these upper dimensional spaces. But ultimately, within time, ultimately, what it has to pull in to shift the planet forward. So our synchronized intelligence has ultimately brought us here. Us again being vibrating on a frequency, that one frequency that we talked about has ultimately brought us here together and basically allowed us to, what you say, extend further by way of, again, us being able to be synchronized and again, bringing forth again these next ideas and next focuses again. So this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, and this intelligence is brought to you by our higher selves set in the upper dimensions as the activated solar council, again, bringing forth this correction, bringing forth again, alignment of energy by way of putting the president in a past world on pause. And we've been doing that, by doing these lies and bringing forth reality. Reality has the word real in it. So it is real. Reality is real. People who want to live in, illusion, that's okay. They can live in illusion. They can live in, this so-called land of la-la, but ultimately we're focused on, again, being able to evolve next now into, again, this hyper-activated state of energy, being energy, going beyond the earth realms. Go ahead, brother F1.
Yep, just going back, and it's so funny when you listen to these teachers out here. I don't care what teacher it is. It could be the top teacher, but shout out. See, people get us twisted sometimes when we talk about the old teachers like Dr. Sabi. I forgot his name. The whole point I'm making is they serve their purpose. All the old teachers serve their purpose already because there is nothing else. They served their purpose. They came, they did what they had to do, and they served their purpose for what? That's why I always tell people, when you're dealing with the ancestors, you're dealing with the Olmecs, you're dealing with the Aztecs, you're dealing with the Incas, you're dealing with Egypt, you're dealing with they left a foundation for the future. They didn't leave a foundation to go back and do what they did. That's why when people wear the UNC or they wear, the pineal gland, that's all fine and dandy. But what's next after that? Really think about that for a minute. What's next after that? That's all fine and dandy. But they left a foundation to get back to the one. Look at the Egyptian pyramids. What is that? Four foundation points pointing up to where? The one. They were trying to tap into the 14th dimension because they knew that this universe was 13 dimensions. They knew that their ascendants were in the 13th dimension and pulling from the 14th dimension. That's why the pyramids are shaped like that, because they were trying to pull in from the 14th dimension. That's being groomed and built right now. Going into the age of Aquarius, the 14th dimension will be complete. And then you're going to really start seeing the mega super shift on the planet.
Yep. Again, go ahead, brother Cosmo. You want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, basically, so I remember on one of the podcasts, Brother F1 was talking about light years or something like that. And that got me like, okay, these people, they showing movies and stuff, light years. And when you say light years, then light years is in the future pretty much. Dealing with light and saying we the only beings really that can tap into that, not even light, but the source where those rays really stem from. It's like, what I'm trying to say is, what light years really tells you basically you're in the future. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's all I have to say, basically.
Yep, that's great. Great add on with that, because as far as like what he said before, ultimately with that, the light being the artificial to what the radiance is. Radiance is what sound and energy moves off of, because you can, sound radiates, energy radiates, light radiates. But when it comes to the source of all the light, it's the, what you said, the soul, that energy, that radiance, that the rays coming down here that are extending our mind, bodies, and souls into a more clear and more, would say, next dimensional way of thinking, seeing, and ultimately, as we move forward, living outside of this so-called 3D algorithm called the matrix. And, whatever you want to call this place, but this place is not where we're going to end up and keep, looping back in here, because our souls have broken that barrier. Again, our souls that have came back from the future have activated us for it, and we began to break the fabric of a 3D algorithm and be able to override it with the fourth format of that fourth format of ones walking with ones, or 1111 being the four. So again, as we begin to access more and more intel by way of, again, our DNA being able to shift to DEA, and the cell being able to register us as these activated beings, we begin to sit on our seats as activated council. So go ahead, brother F1.
That's going to be next. That's going to be next. But see, that's why we put all these videos out like this. You know what I'm saying? That's why we get in the archives and ready. Because there's going to be some producer or somebody that's going to try to make a movie off of this stuff. It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. See, dealing with the stuff that we coming out with, it's going to be some producer or somebody's going to get the little itch. They're going to be scratching their neck. They're going to be like, I'm finna make a movie about that. And then we're going to assume that we're going to win everything. Just like the sister did in the Matrix. Well, the gray sister, she was a hybrid, but that shit don't even matter messing with mind power. Either you over here or you're not. But see, even dealing with that shit, because when you're dealing with the shit that we coming out with, you're gonna see producers and stuff try to make movies off the stuff that we came out of all our videos and stuff. And it's not gonna go good for them, man. How's it gonna go good when we're in the future? It's not gonna go good, man. But see, just dealing with going back to I was gonna say something about teachers. And like even just dealing with teachers, notice that the teachers always stay on physical. They stay on physical stuff. All these teachers, I don't care who they are. They could be in New York. They could be in Chicago. They could be in Los Angeles. They could be across the world. It doesn't matter. They always go back to physical stuff. And the point that I'm making is because we focus on the future, going back to the electrodes and the electrons, the electricity, right? Dealing with Wi-Fi. Can you see Wi-Fi? You can't see Wi-Fi. It's there though. See, dealing with the seen, I'm gonna do a video too, the seen and unseen, Zareas and Cosmos. I'm doing that video too, the seen and the unseen. But see, you can't see Wi-Fi. But is that wireless? Yeah, you can't see cell phone. You can't see cell phone frequency waves. Can you feel them? Yeah, you can feel them. You know they out there dealing with ray. What's that? The Ra. The radiation.
The radiance.
Break it down. Yeah, radiant. Break it down the word radio. I'm going to break this down one more time for everybody. Ray. What is ray? The Ra. What is the D? The dimensions. What is the I? The one. What is the zero at the end? To keep the one in that zero. So that's why they push the radio, is because they want you to keep it a zero. They want you to keep that hamster wheel. What's the hamster wheel, AF1? The hamster wheel is the library, where the lies are buried, Google, Siri, and Alexa. That's why when you got the radio frequency, Ra, the rays, what does that mean? Blocking you from the rays from what? The sun. What does the sun do? It shoots out intel. Blocking you from the sun. Why? So you don't get to where? The upper dimensions. So what happens when you block that? You turn into a one. So what do they have to do? They got to keep pushing that radio frequency so you remain a zero. And that's what the word radio means. And you can't Google that.
Nope. Because again, they always wanted us to be in that reprobate mind, or be in that stagnant mind, that stagnant way of thinking, and not being able to, again, move past this society, move past this system. That's why we have, again, traversed our ways of thinking, or we have been able to extend our ways of thinking outside of the humanities, the humanitarianism, all of that again is religion, science, again, social studies, social observations. Again, we're moving past that, because again, we're in the highest dimensions, again, pulling in the highest intelligence, as of what we know right now, pretty much, because there's so much coming, that again, we've yet to even put out yet. And again, how to put it out here is ultimately even more of a, it's more fun for us having to do what we do because we can, what you say, organize, not organize, but, procedurally or precisely put out these videos and these broadcasts, these lives, because everything is aligning up perfectly and purposely as we begin to extend by way of synchronized intel. So again, this synchronized intel has brought us even further and further would you say, moving past this world, because again, more that we come together, we're going to see that there's nobody else to come to but our ones, but other ones, our brothers, our sisters, ultimately coming together and again moving forward or create something next to even push us further away from the past. Because again, we're not operating on the past and present frequencies, we're operating on future. The future is go, 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 and that's it. Going and extending mind, body, and soul forward, always evolving, and that's it.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you want to go?
Go ahead. Hey, Cosmos, go ahead. Go ahead. I've been babbling for a minute. Just go ahead.
Nah, you good. Okay, I wanted to say, even having to do with DC Comics and shit. Not to go back in the past, but what is here? I was saying Justice League. They represent the ones, walk with the ones. At one point, Batman, he was like, I work alone. You know what I'm saying? And, but eventually he came to the point where he had to work with other intelligent people. I think he only said I work alone because he probably was tired of, he had no one to work with. You know what I'm saying? That was on that intelligent level enough to get things done further, or I don't know, coming up to different alignments where, eventually had to start working together. But you know what I mean? But that's all I want to come here and say. Like, even Batman is like, you gotta come together. You know what I'm saying? Like, for a greater purpose, or, we don't just wield this type of awareness or type of shit, I don't know, for no reason. So that's all I have to say.
That's right. Go ahead, Brother F1. Okay. But so yeah, furthermore, knowing what, building on what Brother Cosmo said, yeah, when again, you have, certain people, I guess, or certain ones that have gotten accustomed to, and they got comfortable, being on that individual egotistical frequency and mindset to where, again, they're just so hell bent on manipulating zeros. They're still hell bent on being of the 10 and not coming together as an 11, being ones working with ones, working with ones, working with ones. They'd rather be, again, troublesome, and again being of a diminished frequency, slowing down the evolution of the planet, and again of those ones that are supposed to be coming over here, because there's a fight, there's literally a war going on too for us, us against the world. It's us three or us other ones here on the planet. Is ones again going against all of these so-called agents of chaos, agents of basically disinformation, or not always disinformation, but basically agents of everything, agents of they don't want us to extend past this world and again keep on bringing forth this evolution, because everybody that is of the past and present, they like being looped. They're comfortable being looped back and forth. They like routines. They like what you say, having to celebrate
Meta.
Right. They love being a part of that meta. They love being a part of the meta because again, they've gotten comfortable, 20, 30 years doing this shit. It's called, they don't even question, why they do things. So people like us being outstanding ones, again, we're outstanding ones. Again, looking to the upper dimensions, we are the ones holding up this third dimensional realm, but we are these outstanding ones, again, bringing for reality. And it's too real for these so-called zeros. It's too real.
Yeah, going back to what the brother Cosmos was talking about with Batman. See, the reason why Batman, he couldn't see all this stuff is like I tell everybody, all this stuff is being played out. The reason why Batman, he was like, I can't do it by myself. Everything's speeding up. He was so used to handling everything by himself. He was used to that. But when this stuff starts speeding up and you still there by yourself with your individual mind frame, and then you get desperate, then you start looking around, and then you go to your family's house and all your family is arguing, doing chaos and confusion, then you're going to find out that the Futurtarians was the only way.
Yep. Futurtarians, U.N.O.N.C, us coming together, synchronized intelligence, we are the only way. And again, if there are other collectives of ones out there coming together, then yeah, we as a collective of ones walking with ones are moving shit forward. Whether we're here in America, whether we're, in South America or Africa, again, we're going to come together by way of solargy, and our energy is so powerful that we don't have to be in the same place. But the fact that we are again amplifying activation of energies because we are refracting or basically reflecting what's happening above in upper dimensions as above so below, and we're ultimately being able to transmit new frequencies into again tangible energy by way of again that processing, being able to organically process these ray codes, and these ray codes being able to again give us the extended clarity to move forward. Synchronized intel. This is brought to you by our higher selves in upper dimensions, as solar activated council, as activated ray intelligence, as activated ray beings coming down to the planet and causing this activational shift, spreading this so-called activation. Because again, it's not even called activation in upper dimensions. It's all about again that energy is going to keep it going and growing and growing and keep evolving into a next state, into a next form of intelligence that's way more advanced than we have been able to pull in right now. So again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, bringing forth next nuclear ideas, conversations by way of again the council, the Solar Activated Council. Shout out Brother Cosmo, because I'm proud of you, man. Thank you. Because now that we're moving forward as a Solar Activated Council, things will only become more and more easier for us to traverse and again bring forth next ideas to extend, again, everyone that is a one who knows that they're a one. Again, if you are one, then why are you around zeros? If you are one, why the hell are you around zeros? Waking them up. Ones walking ones, because again, we have to keep it.
Put your lights up.
Say what? Go ahead, brother.
And I was just saying, put your lights up, basically. Put your antennas higher. Basically, the song "Put Your Lights Up." It was corny, but it's okay.
Right. Ultimately, yes. Look, put your antennas into the upper and outer dimensions. Put your antennas to the sky and not in these books, because again, these books are the meta. That was the old form of meta before Facebook came out. All of the double O's and again, those that keep looping you again, whether it be of the humanities and whatnot. So we move forward past that, and we're bringing forth next intelligence, this next clarity of again who we are and what our purpose is, being of the activated influence. Again, we're spreading activation, and again, teachers are now beginning to talk about activation now, because again, they know that we're bringing forth next intelligence, these next conversations, next nuclear ideas to bring forth the rising or the raising of a 200 again activated ones. So yes, if you guys like to add more, Brother Cosmo, Brother F1, add on. Let's go.
Well, I'm just going to leave with this. Going back to the topic, synchronized intelligence. Why do you think that these people out here separate the ones that are actually tapping into higher frequencies away from society? They do that for a reason. And what do? They put them with other people that's on their frequency. This is not nothing new. This has been going on for thousands of years. Who do you think taught them that? Who do you think taught them how to separate people from certain people to keep their minds moving forward, to move the planet forward? But see, now they on pause. That's why our number is the 1111. Now they on pause. When you tap your phone, when you watch a video, when you go on certain websites and you see that pause button, that's the Futurtarians. Because we already put everything in place when we came. Our souls are from the future. Our souls are from the future. This body right here is a rental car, right? So killing us doesn't even serve a purpose, because we'll be back. It's going to happen. It's going to play out. You might as well just bow down and submit, because the Futurtarians is going to move the planet forward, just like we switched Facebook to Meta.
Yep. And we're going to keep.
Oh, one more thing, brother. And this to the planet. You can't touch this. Doom, 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 doom. Can't touch.
Right on. And again, wonderful breakup by us Futurtarians, Brother Cosmo, Brother AF1, and me, Z Reyes, Nuclear. Again, moving forward, we're going to keep extending these activational frequencies by way of the Next Nuclear Radio Show, by way of Nextel, by way of our synchronized incels. Today's topic was synchronized intelligence. So again, our synchronized intelligence, our synchronized solargy, our synchronized council moving forward is only going to shift the planet. That's the only way, by way of council. So again, check us out. Check out Brother AF1 on his channel, Futurtarians Activation channel on YouTube. Again, Futurtarians Activation channel. Check out Brother Cosmo on his YouTube channel, Cosmo Uni on Facebook, Cosmo Uni as well. Brother AF1, AFONE on YouTube Futurtarian. So again, we are coming to you all as ones walking for ones, as a solar activated council. Again, as a solar activated council. So again, check us out this coming Saturday at 6:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. CST. Again, 6:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. CST. So with that being said, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. Until next time, bringing forth next intelligence, and again, the next conversation and the next focus and ideas. So with that being said, peace, power, soul, and activation. One love.